Why are student films trash? Before film school, students have made one of two types of films, if any. There's either the plot driven film, which is usually poorly strung together bits of exposition meant to justify the crazy action scenes, or the story driven film, which is usually a sad person in a room going through a crisis while nothing interesting happens. And when I say driven, I don't mean plot driven or story driven in the sense they are supposed to be used. I mean so entirely focused on the one that they ignore the other. For this reason, student films are trash. But why? To answer that, first we need to understand plot versus story. What does this mean? The simplest answer is plot is what happens in the film, and story is why.
You were like a brother to me. A brother, Chandler.
This is something student films miss all the time. Because one does not work well without the other, a completely plot-centric film is going to fall flat without a strong story, and a completely story-centric film is going to fall flat without a strong plot. The result will be either a hodgepodge of action scenes supported by weak or no character development, or a slow character drama where nothing actually happens, resulting in it being a tedious bore to watch. While the ideal is the perfect balance between them, I would argue that a senseless action plot-driven film is more enjoyable to watch than a senseless story-driven film. The only people that want to watch a solely story-driven film where nothing happens are pretentious filmmakers and their parents. While on the other end of the spectrum, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen made $1 billion. An important thing to clarify here is plot does not necessarily mean action. There are numerous films with strong plots that have no action in them. However, entirely plot-driven films usually manifest themselves in action movies. That said, action done well is just as much a part of the story as a line of dialogue. So why are student films so boring? If you're like me, you may have noticed few, if any, student films are plot-driven. Most student films revolve around one or two characters, either sitting alone, experiencing the story through abstract visuals, or telling it in dialogue. Another important thing to note, this is for free, is that the absence of dialogue is not equal to visual storytelling. So if it can be agreed that the perfect marriage between plot and story is the way to make a good film, why don't student films do this? The answer probably lies with what the school allows. You see, film schools will not let you do stunts, and a stunt is absolutely anything beyond simple walking. Seriously, riding a bike is a stunt. If you want to include stunts in a film, the school will make you hire a stunt coordinator, probably a medic, and a whole host of other expenses that a film student simply can't afford. The result is students shying away from anything related to action, and also losing the distinction between plot and action, anything related to plot.
Old timer? Beginning, middle, end. Facts, details, condense, plot, tell it.
What film students will end up making then is exclusively story-focused films that fall within the restrictions imposed on them by the school. However, no matter how nuanced your characters are, if they don't do anything, there's no reason to watch them. So why is this? Is it because film schools want to suppress the creativity of students? I mean, maybe, but probably not. It comes down to liability. If a student has someone riding their bike and they fall off and break an arm, the insurance company now has to pay that out. So the insurance company needs their own insurance that the stunt will be done safely. Therefore, they require the students to hire a professional stunt coordinator. Even if the student could do the job themselves, the school can't take that chance. Since film students have no money, being film students, they're not going to go for that, and instead go back into cheap, safe territory making exclusively story-driven films. Now, I'm not disparaging making films to hone technique. Be it a 3-minute, 2-character, 1-location film, a random montage of B-roll, there's a place for all of that, as doing is the only way to learn and improve. However, those films will never be good films. They may be good for what they are, but outside of your small circle of family, friends, and film students, appreciating the film simply because you made it, it is not going to go anywhere. A good film is either a marriage between story and plot, something that can be done in short films, as evidenced by most Pixar animated shorts, or a truly spectacular display that is so incredible that the absence of story can be ignored. In summary, student films miss the distinction between action and plot, and because the school will not allow them to do action on a budget, they restrict themselves almost exclusively to story. So that is why student films are trash. If you'd like to debate that with me, feel free to join the Rocket Discord, link in the description, or leave a comment. I'd also like to shout out to the Homegrown Filmmaker channel. You should definitely check that out. She articulates herself much better and less aggressively than I do, and she helped me understand the necessity for the plot-story harmony. And that's it for today. Until next time.